Hello friends, welcome to this channel, Center of Excellence Pharma 4. This is 116th episode, which is focused on to emerging technologies, digital transformation, and Pharma 4. Our plan is to discuss about the latest developments into technology, new emerging challenges with pharma in distribution, regulatory requirements, supply chain management, and all, and how these technologies can help pharma industry to achieve Pharma 4 and business excellence. With this objective, this channel has been started. In today's episode, I am going to discuss about people first. That's building a digital skills in Pharma 4 world. As I was briefing you about this concept, Dr. Jayan Joshi, that's myself, has designed this goal objective with a passion that how adopting technologies can help pharma industry to achieve excellence. This content has been shared onto our website. We have designed a course on Udemy, that's a smart manufacturing in pharma with 20 modules. We have launched a YouTube channel about 5 years back, has got 385 videos, starting from business strategies, going to the audits and validation. This podcast is 116 podcasts. I'm sure most of you have already listened earlier podcasts. Do share your suggestions, share your feedback, share if you are really looking for some new topics to be discussed, share with your colleagues. We also have a book series which has got 10 books today on Amazon. These books are available on Kindle as well as paperback. So with this brief introduction about our passion and services, let's start with the agenda. I'm going to discuss about digital skills excellence, advanced technical skills which are required, artificial intelligence and data analytics mastery, leadership and change management, regulatory and compliance skills, training innovation and technology integration, implementation excellence and organizational transformation, market dynamics and strategic investment, future directions and strategic transformation. So let's start with the digital literacy and core competencies. What are the importances of basic digital skills? Today, fundamentals of pharma workforce, digitalization is very important. 90% implementation depends, the success rate depends upon the digital skills which have been achieved by the uh, employees, by the skills who are working at a various levels into the organization, into various departments and all this. Because digitization is working on to all departments across the entire organization, entire digital supply chain management, linking up from the demand planning, supply planning, operations planning, and finally reaching to the patients and the customers and all. So this entire thing is really getting covered up. And this is where we want to address the lack of essential competencies which is really required. And this is where we want to discuss it out about the people first actually, because it's a people, processes and technology. These are the three things which are really work hand to hand. We always say that it's a head, heart and hand. They have to work together to achieve this excellence and all. So what are these core digital skills? It's basically a proficiency in digital communications platform. Now we have to share this data with across the organization. Our earlier systems were analog systems, they were silos based systems, they were not sharing the data to the other stakeholders and all. This is where they were not able to achieve the excellence which was really expected. So you have to compile all that basic data. You have to share those with electronically, digitally, and all that sort of a thing. And this is where digital collaboration is really required. So ISP, that's International Society of Pharma Engineering, has also developed a framework how strong digital literacy foundation should be and how that can really help in implementations of these various technologies. Digital documentation and reporting is the most important thing as far as the pharma industry is concerned. What we have seen is that the shop floor skills spend a lot of time and efforts in writing down those documentation. And when those are manual, there are possibilities of making a mistakes and all. So here, what really we are looking at it, we have to see that at least 85% of the documentation should go on to digital, and this is where that success rate will come. So in compliances, 80% of the errors are really happening is because of the inadequate digital documentation, because it was a manual documentation and all. So what really we want to develop it is the key competencies about the electronic batch manufacturing records, your digital SOPs creation and maintenance, automated reporting systems, you have to have a compliance documentation workflows needs to be documented by digitally and all. And this is where that regulatory adherence will help in improving the operational efficiencies and all. Now, what is really required over here is a data integrity. We are compiling the data, but it has to really get shared. It has to be having the same sharing pattern, same control, same alert messages and all that. That is what is really more important. So process automations workflows should be designed properly. So there are critical technical competencies are really required, which will identify automation opportunities. What really we see is that there are many processes which are repetitive jobs. Whether you take a purchase order, whether you take a material issues, a stock, whether you take a quality parameters, whether you see a manufacturing systems documentation of process size, production quantities, and all these are needs to be automated, and this is where there is a huge opportunity. But this will require efficient workflows. And if that is the case, then only this implementation of digital solutions is possible. But what are the benefits? There are tremendous benefits. 75% of the productivity gain depends upon the effective automation. That means the data which has been generated should be captured digitally and should be stored, should be in a say that it can build up a required documentation, require alert messages or something. And this requires a skilled professionals who will take the data and who will use the data for a data-driven decision making. This is where the integration skills come up and all that. So combining this automation along with the pharma knowledge and all that will lead to productivity, performance improvements and all this. So maintaining product quality, operational efficiencies, these are the most important thing which really works with the automation. So you have to, people first have to develop these skills and all that. Now, as I was discussing about the automation, IoT sensors are really making a good entry into a lot of automations, and it is going to capture real time monitoring data and all. And this is where there is a high implementation success rates at a manufacturing level, at a distribution level, and it works, gives a good uh, centricity to the customers, patients, and all, and more satisfaction, more safety with that is really going to create a good image for the company. So what really we should really look at it is that how those IoT sensors are going to work, how that can really lead to the better automation, better intelligent system, better innovations and all that. And this is where IoTs are really going to come. So people should really look at it. What are the new emerging technologies are coming up and how they are going to contribute it into improvements into the processes, automations and all. So starting from the supply sensor selections and its deployment and data collections and analysis and alert messaging and helping in the predictive maintenance. So what are those different skills which are really going to come up? You should really able to develop those expertise onto that. So demand for IoT proficiencies is going to come. So people first should really focus onto this area and how they are going to contribute. Then another emerging technology that's coming up is a digital twin. The digital twin is the virtual creation of what is really happening at a manufacturing level. So this advanced competency is about creation, maintenance, and optimization of a virtual replica about manufacturing levels operation. So you can really master that, and then you can really see if these are the conditions are there going to be any possible disruption, and if those possibilities are there, how we can overcome them and all that. So your manufacturing processes, your equipment, your facilities, everything is really taken into consideration while designing those digital twins and all. And these digital twins can really help in 90% of the efficiency gains, which is really required, subject to the skills which are really required by the operators are really being developed actually. So adoption of digital twin by people first will help in building up all that actually, and that integration will help in scenarios planning, capability building and all that, which will lead to better optimizations of the plant processes and uh, quality excellence and all that sort of thing. So this is where the digital twin requires some modeling techniques, data integration, simulation analysis, optimizations and all. Even though this terminologies looks maybe slightly, I think I'm trying to explain it in a simple way so that you will be able to understand and grasp it. What is really expected to build up those skills and all that sort of thing. Now, this data about from IoTs or from digital twins and all will move to the artificial intelligence and predictive analytics and all that sort of thing. So artificial intelligence models can be developed which will really work on to address shortages into pharma R&D productivity, will help in understanding the machine learning algorithms. When they say machine learning, it keeps track about the continuous ex experiments or the data which has been really captured and then goes on predicting it and all that sort of a thing. So this will really help to predict those maybe disruptions or any deviations from the process parameters and all. And machine learning really helps along with the artificial intelligence to overcome that and all. So this competencies can be developed in drug development, in manufacturing processes, in regulatory submission, in quality management systems, and can go on extending it to the warehouse, logistics, distributions, and all also. So Predictive analytics is basically a tool which really helps in taking up a data and helps you to work on a data-driven decision making. So this is there. Big data analytics is the visualization. As we discuss it out, today's digital systems are more uh, able to capture the data, and this is where the big data is really coming up and also. So huge data is available. But larger amount of a data is gives you a better corrective decisions and all that sort of thing. So human potential and technology capability, they have to really work together. So human skills with advanced technology can work together to create new areas of the professional developments and all. And this is where people first should really focus it out and all that stuff. Now, this really takes a one step further about the strategic imperatives for the digital fluency and all that. So digitally fluent workforce has to really go on developing it. This is where, no, as I discussed, artificial intelligence, IoT, digital twins, predictive analysis, they all have to really work together in an integration form. So that can really start from helping from the drug development, manufacturing system to the logistic and distribution systems and all this. Now, 50% companies are now already started working on to developing these digital skills gaps and all this sort of a thing. Our interest of working on to building up a YouTube model, designing Udemy courses, podcasts, the books is again in the same direction. We want people to get trained much faster. They have to really go on learning, go on improving, upskilling their things and all that sort of thing. As more new technologies are coming up, and that can really help individual to build up their skill, and finally that contribution will come to organizations. So machine learning applications, as I was discussing, can be there into the drug discoveries, in patient personalized treatments, as we are going to get connected. I have already discussed into some of the other episodes about the AR and VR application. I discussed about the personal, this patient centricity and all that sort of a thing. How metadata can really get connected with the wearables and all that into the whole system. So a lot of those things are happening. A lot of technology things are coming up, and we have to really look at it and understand the capabilities and do that with an integration to build up these strong systems and all this, right? Quality control, optimization, the supply chain processes and all. These are some of the applications where machine learning can really go on contributing it. Predictive and preventive maintenance is another area where if you can really get a good machine that will deliver the good quality, good output quantities and all this. Right? Now, how to maintain those machines, how to capture all that running data, and how that data can really indicate it to you a requirement of predictive maintenance or something. This is what the skills the person has to develop it and all this sort of thing. So predictive analytics is also an extension which can really help not only into the machines, but it also captures the market data and will help in demand planning, demand forecasting and all. Because that is the starting process where no our entire digital supply chain management depends upon it, which leads to your sales and operation planning, then comes to your procurement plan and all that. So understanding, anticipating the market trends and the regulatory changes, everything is required. You have to depend upon the predictive analytics based on to the market data. This is a strategic intelligence which you will have to build up, and this helps you to improve the forecasting, and then that really helps it in controlling the inventory levels. So your high inventory levels, you block up the money, and low inventory levels may lose the product market. So these are all important things. So some of the key technologies can be used over here is the time series analysis, regression modeling, scenario planning, uncertainty quantifications, and all that sort of a thing. This is where people have to start learning, developing those skills and understanding it. So data is one part of it. Using that data for better decision making is another important area. So we have to really look at it from that angle also, and that will help in with improving the decision making process. So essential skills which are to be developed is translating those insights and all that sort of a thing. So data visualization, communication to the other department, other stakeholders is also very crucial. Based on to those decision makings into an actionable recommendations and all. You have to think about the dashboard designing, where a quick look into a graphical form can help you to take a correct decisions also. Storytelling with the data is also required. Presentation techniques are to be improved. Stakeholder communication strategies are to be developed. Driving organizational actions is required, where you can ensure that analytical insights are really taken into consideration based on to the organizational actions, no? Whether it may be procurement, whether it may be planning, whether it may be outsourcing, whether it may be route planning, transportation planning. Many things are really required over there. And that will really lead to a improved collaboration with technical professionals and all other things, starting from clinical trials, regulatory to the commercial teams, which are into the logistics, distributions, and all that. So digital transformations requires a leadership. When we are really planning out of this entire thing about upgrading the skills and people first concept, the digital initiative should really look at it, identify those skills, train them up, and then they can start contributing it and all that sort of a thing. So your leadership skills should be there, who will be able to budget it, who will be able to identify, who will be able to draw a plan about the change management, draw about the plan for the digital strategy development, that draw a plan for the transformation programs and all this sort of a thing. So then that will be able to identify and lead to the people first movement and all that sort of thing. Now, considering the specialized competencies, I was discussing in general about the general competency, general upskills, and all the digital skills or something. But then there are some unique challenges are there into this technology implementation, because there is the regulatory compliances, there are change management, and then there are different expectations, different requirements from the different stakeholders. The stakeholders into the marketing will be different, their expectations will be different. Stakeholders who are into the distribution, logistic, and all that sort of a thing, their expectations will be different. So, considering all those stakeholder analysis and building up a communication planning, and then drawing a training plan accordingly is very important and all that sort of thing. We have to also take into consideration the risk factors, of building up a confidence with the digital skills with the people. No, they should not. They should be more motivated. They should be more favorable. They should have a more positive approach to looking at it of adoption these particular technologies and all. Now, when we are looking, considering all these various factors, we have to also think about the strategic point of view also. Like what should be our roadmap, when we are really planning for the digital investment? Because all these projects are a long-term projects and require a huge amount of investment. It requires hardware, software, the skills development, skills training, upgrading of the data onto the new systems and all that sort of a thing. So all these various factors, their various objectives are to be aligned into the investments plan and all that sort of thing. So your strategy should be into such a phase manner so that no, you start with some pilot project with the proof of concepts or something like that, and then go on extending it. So when you're doing all these things, you have to draw a strategy. You have to take into consideration the technology assessment, which because you are already having some technologies which are there. Then draw a business case development, then work out onto investment priorities, and then it can lead to the strategic planning and all that sort of thing. So guiding this entire digital journey is itself is a challenge. You still have laid down strategies, and then you have to take into consideration what are the emerging technologies which you are really going to adopt to it and all that sort of thing. So taking all these things, leadership must take into consideration about the innovations also. Because finally the innovation is really going to help to have an edge over the other competitors or in a market and all that sort of thing. So with this, we always discuss is that it's innovation and collaboration have to really work. The innovation works along with the collaboration. See, earlier systems were analog systems which were silos based. Now we are going to collaborate. We are going to share all this data across the organization, or even maybe the stakeholders who may be outside the organization but still are going to contribute. Like your logistic system, your purchase systems, and all that sort of a thing. So you have to work on to those innovation. You have to encourage those experiments and learning and all that, and how you are going to get the results or expected results, or if there are any deviations, why those reasons for the deviations and all. So innovation, cultural changes, learning principles, everything has to really to be taken into consideration. And these are very important things. Now, I thought was interested to discuss this into this particular episode from that particular angle, actually, because this leadership skills along with the operating people and all that, it's going to drive this entire thing around. Now, while discussing this, another most important factor from the pharma industry point of view is the regulatory documentations and submissions and all. So you have to also keep that in mind that the technology will also help in digital documentations, and your compliances will be automatically submitted. So the writing down, compiling the data which was there into the old system has to go. It has to be entire thing should be automated, and submission tracking should system should really take place and all that sort of a thing. And this is where the real digital skills should start contributing it and all that sort of a thing. Another area is like electronic batch manufacturing records, which are really required. Now, all these documents can really become a paperless document, as you will be moving through the entire digital system of capturing the data directly, getting into the systems and all, without any manual rectification, corrections, or interferences or something like that. And that will give the confidence to the auditors also. At the same time, you will be also very comfortable that the records are available immediately online and all that sort of thing. This will lead to a digital audit and quality management systems and all that sort of a thing. It has been observed that this really enables the audit trails very easily. Implementation success rates also goes up. It also builds up a transparency and traceability of the regulatory inspections and all that. And data integrity principles will build up a audit trail, designing, change control, investigation techniques, and all that sort of a thing. And that demonstrates the compliance with the regulatory authorities and all, or the auditors and all that. Your quality management systems becomes very strong. It integrates the entire digital manufacturing, batch manufacturing record, all current good manufacturing practices, good manuf- uh, laboratory practices and everything. And that really leads to the quality planning, process control automations, non-conference managements, and continuous improvements techniques and all this. So there are a lot of tangible and intangible benefits are there actually. The virtual reality, which I discuss again into some of our other episodes also, I do request all of you to refer to those episodes also, where the communication really builds up and the virtual reality trainings helps the skills to develop the expertise, understand the both domain as well as the technology challenges, technology adoptions, and all that sort of thing. And that really improve the practices about the pharmaceutical and all this. Right? This also reduces the timeline which is really required for the training. If it is going to take maybe 9 months or something, it can reduce it to the 2 months. So it is that way benefits and all that sort of thing. So if you reduce your time, you start contributing it to the upskilling of your skills and contributing to the manufacturing or operations where you are working, that also goes on improving it. So cost saving, efficiencies improvements, and all this really leads to a multi-million billionaire dollar savings, and that reduces time cost and all that sort of thing. Now, integrating about the artificial intelligence and virtual reality technologies also really helps into the production processes and compliances and all that. Mobile learning, that's a virtual reality and all that micro learning strategies can really help. And this is where again I'm focusing on to people first. It's basically they have to really get familiar with the new both technology and digital transformation challenges and all that sort of thing. These are device agnostics actually, these data are nowadays are available not necessarily onto the desktop but also onto the mobile and all that. So this is where micro learning strategies to be developed, because some of the skills which are there at a shop floor may not get a sufficient time to go and attend those courses or something like that. But at the same time, when they are learning at a shop floor or the manufacturing level, they also can really try it out those things and build up that confidence and all those things. So a lot of those benefits are there, and these diverse learning styles are available. New learning technologies are really coming up. We are already working on to similarly AI-based digital skills enhancements platforms and all, which are also going to come in a shortly. So you can also keep track about those things and all those sort of things. So competency framework development is going to be there based on to your capabilities, what level you are working, where you want to go, what are the areas which you want to focus it out, whether you want to focus on drug development and regulatory, or you want to focus on to your manufacturing and build up excellency with the quality and logistics and all that also. How that teamworks are going to come work and all that sort of a thing. So your organization should do that assessment, about the different department, different operations, the skills at that particular operating process and all that sort of a thing, and how you are going to link up all those the goals from the strategy point of view, goals from the technology point of view, goals from training point of view, and what really you expect into the achievements from that, so these are the things which you have to identify the gaps and then conduct those analysis and train them up and all this. That is how the digital literacy will go on growing up, and that will help in digital maturity and all that stuff. So organizational culture and adoption also have to be considered into the strategic. So change management, as I mentioned earlier, also plays a very important role here to address those drivers' attitudes and readiness levels. Everybody may not be at the same level to accept and adopt those new technologies or new culture immediately. So here I have just tried to identify some four different types of employees. There may be frustrated employees, they may have a high belief but low confidence. There may be inspired employees who will have a high belief and high confidence. There may be oppressed employees who will have a low belief and low confidence. There will be indifferent employees who may have a low belief but high confidence and all this stuff. So you will find all different types of people, the skills at your shop floor level. So you have to identify and you have to design, you may have to work out the different plans for the different types of employees and all that sort of a thing. And this is where you have to work out and developing the digital skills for the uh, people first and all that sort of thing. Cross-functional collaboration, as I mentioned earlier, also earlier it was a analog-based, silos-based systems. Now it is a cross-functional. So we are to have those digital skills across the all organization, all departments, all levels actually, because even if there are any gaps in between, the systems are not really going to work or give you support as desired and all that sort of thing. So you need a software engineers, you need a product manager, you need a quality manager, you need a user interface, users, operations designers, marketing specialists, and business analysts. So the entire thing requires a lot of integrations. So this is what is a big challenge actually. And what we find is that more and more focused training is really going to help to achieve those excellence and all. So our focus while developing this YouTube, Udemy podcast and books is mainly because of that, so that all those skills should be really aware and how those integrations are really going to work. Now, that is what is important. And if you do all this planning, then you can expect around 90% of implementation success rates and all that sort of. This also gets extended to electronic healthcare records and all from the patient's point of view. So this is how this entire system needs to be there. The skills gaps analysis has to be done. Industry benchmarks are to be taken into consideration. So you have to identify the digital talent shortages and then give focus on to those skills which are into short. Start with them and then go to the next level. Start with a pilot project and then go on extending it out. So you have to develop those digital talents availability and all. And this is what it is a sector-wise challenge by which you can start working on to data analysis, machine learning, process optimizations, and cybersecurity and all. And then as you go on working onto that, you will have a more strength, more digital maturity assessments, which will lead to the excellence and all that. Now, while doing this, as I discussed earlier, also you have to keep it into mind about hardware, software, the, the algorithm, skills, training, data migrations, many things and all that. So you have to also consider the return on investments and how much it's going to give you the impact onto your businesses and all. You always have a tangible and intangible benefits. So you should be able to identify what are going to be the tangible and intangible benefits, what really you expect, and how effective strategies you can develop it for the reducing the training time and all those things. So those things you will have to work it out, which will help you to work out the ROI and all those sort of a thing. If you try to save about the training cost, you may be able to go to the old traditional methods only. If you have to really work and face tomorrow's market, you cannot really work with the yesterday's technology. You have to work with the tomorrow's technologies also. So you have to work on to the strategic advantages which will be developed based on to your digital skills and all. Now, a lot of emerging technologies and skill development platforms are really coming up and all. So artificial intelligence literacy programs is to be discussed, is to be worked it out and is to be told. Quantum computing applications is a new area which is coming up, which is also really going to help in developing the algorithms and molecular simulations and all. This requires some more of a mathematical competencies. So no, you will have to really identify those skills who have a good, strong mathematics and also have an interest in developing those skills into various different algorithms and all this sort of a thing. Now, autonomous systems integration, as I mentioned, is you have to understand the robotics, machine learning, various control systems and all, and how they are going to contribute it into system design, safety analysis, and regulatory compliances. All these things are going to get integrated and all that. So strategic workforce development, you have to really keep it in mind about the organizational excellence and all that sort of thing. From where it's going to contribute, how maybe your quality parameters or deliveries into time or reduction into the inventory levels, how these are the various things no, operationally are going to contribute it. You have to really think from the operational excellence point of view also, and keeping in mind the future pharmaceutical works and all this thing. So I gave you a brief idea about what are the different skills shortages will be there, how those skills needs to be evolved and get upskilled and all that, and how those are going to contribute it into the different operating functionalities or areas and all, where those benefits can be expected and all, and how those collaborative efforts are required, how those strategies and ROIs to be calculated and all that. So with this, we already have discussed on to various other formats also. Do look at them also. Please share with your comments, share with your network and all also. Okay, hope you got a brief idea. Thank you. Bye.